I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll be getting a lot of love in the building. It's kind of nice, a lot of old jokes, but that comes with the territory. I used to dish all the old jokes back in the day, so it makes sense that I get them now. I've been getting them for some years. They never get old, though.
Good plans?
Not really. Just hang out with the family. I got a lot of family in town, so it'd be nice to hang out with the family. Wifey got something planned, but, it's just low-key.
What did it mean to be named captain?
That was a big deal. I didn't expect it. I haven't really been here that long. But I do try to, make an impact and communicate with the guys and really love on them. And so for the guys to vote me captain, it's very, very surreal. I was honored, very honored, and I'm gonna do the best I can. Coach does a good job of creating expectations and what he expects from people and all that good stuff. And so, I'm gonna do the best I got for trying to be a captain and trying to represent what a captain should be.
What are the responsibilities for a captain that are different than anyone else on the team?
Well, first is you got to lead by example. Usually if you got a C in your chest, you got to be, early and on time for all the meetings. You got to, in and out of the huddle, great enthusiasm, keeping the energy good. You got to, really be generals for the coach. Whatever coach, whatever we're working on, whatever situation it may be, we got to make sure we're communicating and everybody's on the same page and just executing at a high level and just being accountable and trying to hold everybody on the team accountable as well.
Now that a game week is finally here, what do you have to do at this point in your career to make sure that you're ready every week, and how does that differ than what you did 5, 10, 15 years ago?
Every year it changes a little bit. You kind of add a little bit more, evolve a little bit. Last few years it's kind of been, similar, though. You only can do so much in a 24-hour period. So I have a pretty good routine. It's been working for me, so I hope it works again. You really don't know until you get out there. But the experience on how to get my body back right is important. Right now I feel great. But next week at this time it's gonna be a whole different story. Gotta start the year off fast. Try to set the tone, bring good energy, and make this first one feel good since the energy's on point. But after that, it's just a process of getting back to that game level feel, which every week is a challenge. But I have a system and a formula that has worked for me. So
if you go way back to when you started here, I remember that there used to be storylines about traveling east and those kinds of road trips and stuff like that. You've been in the league obviously a while. You've been on a bunch of different teams, taking road trips a bunch of different places. What is the secret to playing well on the road?
I think, when you go on the road, you got to make sure you play really good defense. And, I used to have a coach always say, when you go on the road, you got to bring special teams in your defense, And now, obviously, it's just execution. Football's a game of execution. Whoever executes at the high level wins, But when you go from the West Coast to the East Coast, the time frame, we play a 1 o'clock game, it's really a 10 a.m., start time. And so just everything's earlier, so you got to get your mental clock going. I think everybody's different, but the main, goal is just to make sure you're mentally alert, awoke, and just focus on the small details and then just bringing good energy. I think that, no matter when I play football, I'm going to go out there and be the same kind of guy. I think that it's a mental toughness of just whatever the circumstances is, handle it and execute at a high level.
Besides start time on your body, are there any differences traveling west to east compared to east to west that you've experienced playing on both sides of the country?
That's the biggest one is just the the routine. Everything's a little earlier. If I normally go to bed, 11 o'clock, for a home game, you wake up and you're rolling. But now that 11 o'clock is really 8 o'clock over there. It's you're not going to bed at 8 o'clock, so you're just going to be a little bit further behind, and you want to because you don't want to wake up to so you want to adjust a little bit, but or not at 8 o'clock. It'd be 1 another way, but it's still. crazy. So you got to go to bed earlier, 8 o'clock this time, but then you just hope to get sleep, you hope to be able to go to bed and all that stuff. So sometimes you just wake up, you're tired, but, do it while you're tired.
You've talked a lot about how much you love football and that's what keeps you going. Why? Like, what is it about the game that you love so much and that keeps you going?
Yeah, well, I mean, we could sit here for a long time talking about what I love about the game. I started playing at 6 years old, and I loved it, even before I started playing. But, I mean, the reason why I love playing it is probably different than why I love it, as a whole. I mean, I'm a football fan that's lucky enough to play the game. And, I follow all of it. I watch all the college games. Like, I just love ball, I'm hoping that my kids love ball so I can watch it with them or, teach them the game and all that stuff too. But playing the game is just different. It's just competing at the highest level, trying to leave a mark on the game. But really just, at the end of the day, it's the best game that was ever made. You have to depend on other people to be successful. You have to inspire people to play better, the best they can be, the best version of themselves. You have to be accountable to those guys, and I think it's because I grew up with a bunch of brothers. I have 5 brothers I grew up in a household with, and so that togetherness, that brotherhood is just special, and I love that, it takes all of us to win.
So did you I assume you watched the Miami win last night?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, I love what I saw, Definitely late in the game, we let them back in it, but they're a good team. They're well coached. If you give them an opportunity, they're going to take advantage of it. But I was happy to see my man Ruben Bain, and I don't even know Three's name, but they were meeting at the quarterback the last drive, and that was good to see. That's what we've been missing. So I know he's a future probably first round pick. And he looked like it last night, and that was good to see.
Calais coming off 3 days off. Obviously, it's week 1 regular season. Just what was the energy like out there for the first practice?
It was good. It was really good. I like what I saw. Like a lot. The expectations and first week and all that stuff is the outside world. Like it really just comes down to just lining up, executing, playing good football, and let the wins come where they may. All the other stuff will take care of itself. But like for us, it's just the first time we, did anything for the Saints. We haven't did any game planning or anything like that before. Today is kind of just a very low introduction, and then we go through our process. But today was the first day where we planned for a game, and it was fun. The guys were locked in. You start kind of, seeing, some of the stuff you see on tape, like, okay, this is why they're doing this, why we're doing that. And, for me, like, as an older player, the why is so important to me, So with the coordinators and our D-line coach, we're talking through, like, okay, what is the reason why you're doing this? What plays are we trying to stop? What do we expect in these situations, so that you can have that kind of advantage. And then you'll try to just help the young guys kind of see the blocking schemes and stuff that we're all going to get. But today was the first day where it was just like, all right, this is real football. Training camp is, getting ready for football, and it is football. But for me, this was the first real day of football.
Did you start watching film on their quarterback after they named him last week, or did you wait till this week to start all that?
I haven't really watched so much from the quarterback yet. That'll come later on this week. Mostly just trying to figure out like blocking schemes. Kind of how things are going to be in situations. So that's really the hardest part. Is okay, we're in this situation. How they going to block us? Where we line up. What are we expecting? And then obviously we have no contract with them to switch it up and do a lot of things different. You never know. They're always going to have a couple wrinkles up their sleeve. That's just good coaching. And I know Calais is a really good coach, so we got to be prepared for everything. But, just, watching the tape, figuring it out. But, yeah, all the, player-specific stuff will come later in the week. You don't want to do that too soon because that just, you forget it if you do it too soon,
What do you want from the team with a new coaching staff, new everything? What do you even base it off of?
You got to go down the tree, you watch. I watch a lot more preseason. Normally you don't want to watch preseason because it's not the guys you're going to be playing against for the most part. They did play a lot of their starters in preseason, so that was good. So we got a little more tape. But you got to go back. I got to watch some Eagles. Got to watch, some Cowboys. Got to watch some Chargers. You got to watch a little bit of everything. So it is what it is. But good thing. Calais has been around for a long time. Has been calling plays for a long time. So there's a lot of tape at what he does. So.
You've obviously been a veteran in this league for a while now, but I imagine this is the first stop where you're also older than all the coaches.
That is unique.
What is that like?
Well, at the beginning, I guess it's just like kind of learning each other and getting a feel for it. But now it's just like, just coworkers trying to figure out how to put together a good game plan and go out there and win ball games. I think we have brilliant coaches. They're very, very smart that understand the game at a high level. And, it's just, I think, I can speak their language a little bit better, which is nice. Because sometimes, like as a coordinator or a coach, you're just trying to get guys lined up, and doing what they want to do. They don't really need to know the why too often. But, I like to know the why, and I'm one of them tough about the why. And so it just, helps understand so that I know, like, how I can take advantage of a scheme, how I can, make calculated decisions that can, be game-changing type plays. And so, but it's it's always just a relationship-based thing. It's a relationship business, and to me, like we all respect each other. We see the way we work. Everybody works hard, and leaves it all on the field, and you give it your all. Like that's all that matters.
Calais, what was your first reaction when you heard your name that you were going to be a captain here in your second stint?
I was surprised. I thought that was I just didn't expect it. But. Very, very grateful, that I was able to earn the respect of my peers for them to vote me captain. That was huge. And then it was just like I got to live up to it. I got to be worthy, and that's the most important part. Is being a captain every day and representing, this team at the highest level and making sure that we do what we're supposed to do.
And what do you think about the other 6 that were named as well?
Nothing but respect for them, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Those guys have, the most respect in the locker room. Mac Wilson is a guy that, you're going to hear a lot about this year. He's an elite player, and, he's going to be, mentioned with the greats real soon, as long as God willing he stays healthy, and that's in God's hands, But he's going to have a big year. I love the way he practices. I love how smart he is. He's back to playing Mike, which he really hasn't played a lot in the NFL. But, he's a stud and, very worthy of being the captain, great leader. And Buddha, we all know who Buddha is. Buddha's been doing it for a long time. He's an old, wise vet himself, but elite player nonetheless. And, I think he's been a captain for a long time here. So, I think we have a great group. And, and the offensive side of the ball, those guys, same thing too. I think this team has a really good understanding of what needs to happen for us to win ball games. And, at the end of the day, we're going to go out there and do it. This is what have you done for me lately business and put up and shut up, And so, nobody really cares about anything other than winning ball games.
Thanks, Calais.
Thanks,
Thanks, man.
It's your birthday.